Gemini's knowledge cutoff is 3 months fresher than ChatGPT's, and on multi-step logic, puzzles it hits 92% with deep think mode. That gap is real, and depending on what you're asking these tools to do every day, it could absolutely change which one you pay for. Both tools have gotten serious upgrades recently, so this comparison is current. I'm running ChatGPT versus Gemini across 5 head-to-head tests, pulling from official model cards and community benchmarks. Cross-check so you're getting actual numbers, not marketing copy. The tool that wins on advanced math is a different tool than the one you want. When you need a current answer fast, and which one you should actually pay for, comes down to one specific thing we get to in the conditional verdict. My name is Brian, and I'm in these tools 12 hours a day, so you don't have to be. I went through every number both companies will actually stand behind, official model cards, community benchmarks, published research, to see who really wins on the stuff that matters. You've probably heard both tools are great and just picked one on gut feel. But if you're doing serious work, like coding 5 days a week or researching fast-moving topics daily, the wrong pick costs you real time and real money. And this comparison is built for exactly that situation. Test 1, Math and Reasoning. Both ChatGPT and Gemini get called solid at math, but that's not the whole story, and if you've got the wrong one running a complex calculation, your output is just confidently wrong, which is honestly worse than no answer at all. So let's see what the numbers actually say. What surprised me here is how split this is. ChatGPT hits 76.6% on advanced computational math benchmarks, which is pretty strong, but Gemini wins everyday math at 63% and absolutely dominates multi-step logic puzzles at 92% with deep think mode. And I'll note these are community reported numbers, not official model cards. The math dimension is genuinely split. ChatGPT owns hard computational problems. Gemini owns logic and everyday math. So no single tool takes this one cleanly, and it's a tie on the scoreboard. Score stays level, 0 to 0, 1 tied. Test 2, Code Generation and Debugging. A solo dev shipping on a Friday deadline needs to know which tool actually fixes bugs, not just writes code that looks right. Because ship broken code, and you're the one staying up until 2 a.m. tracking down the edge case your AI missed. I looked at the coding benchmarks and ChatGPT has real numbers here. 74.9% on SWE Bench Verified and 88% on Aider Polyglot. But for Gemini, I couldn't find a comparable published figure for either of those benchmarks, which is a real gap. And on raw code quality, both produce functional output that usually needs cleanup, so that part's a wash. Now, the gap looks big on paper because Gemini simply doesn't have published benchmark numbers to compare against, not necessarily because it codes worse, and it's possible Gemini holds up fine in practice, so you really want to run it through your own workflows before calling it definitively. With Gemini's coding numbers unpublished, we can't call a clean winner, so the scoreboard stays at 0 to 0, 2 tied now, because ChatGPT has the benchmark receipts, but a missing number isn't the same as a loss, and this one stays a tie until Gemini publishes comparable data. Test 3, Real-Time Information Access. Ask your AI about something that changed last month, and you get a confident wrong answer. And that's a real problem when you're making a decision based on it, because a stale knowledge cutoff date goes from minor footnote to completely useless the moment you're asking about current topics. What I found here is pretty clear. Gemini's knowledge cutoff is March 2026. ChatGPT's is December 2025. So Gemini is 3 months fresher, and Gemini also has native Google search built in, while ChatGPT needs you to manually turn on browsing, though real-time accuracy numbers aren't published for either, so I couldn't score that part. Even with Gemini's clear structural advantages on freshness and search access, real-time accuracy numbers are unpublished for both, so the scoreboard stays at 0 to 0, 3 tied, and while Gemini is the practical pick for current info, without a head-to-head accuracy number, it's still officially a tie. 2 tests left, and the next one is where things get really interesting because we're looking at what happens when you throw video at these tools, and ChatGPT's answer there might actually change which one you pick. So stick around because the conditional verdict after test 5 is where this all comes together. Test 4, Multimodal Input Support. The day your AI tool can't handle the file type you need, you're rebuilding your workflow from scratch. And if you're processing video content regularly and your tool only handles it in beta, that's a liability sitting in your pipeline, waiting to break. Both ChatGPT and Gemini handle text, images, and audio natively, so those 3 are a clean tie. But the one spot where I noticed a real difference is video. Gemini supports it natively, ChatGPT's video support is still in beta, and for most workflows, that's a small gap. But if video is part of your daily routine, it's a real one. 3 out of 4 modalities are tied, and the video gap is real but narrow. So the scoreboard goes to 0 to 0, 4 tied, and while Gemini has the edge on video, it's not enough to break the tie, given how close everything else is. Test 5. Pricing and subscription value. You've probably wondered whether you're overpaying for one of these and just don't have a clean number to compare. Because pick the Price Your tool for a team of 10, and you're looking at a real cost difference compounding every single month. So this one matters. This is where I hit a wall. I couldn't find a verified published pricing figure for either ChatGPT or Gemini on per token cost or subscription price. Community blogs have numbers floating around, but they're not reliable enough to score here. So on pricing, there's genuinely nothing concrete to put on the board. No winner here. Pricing stays a tie because neither product has a verified, comparable published number to score against, and that's 5 for 5 tied, 0 to 0 across the board. Calling a winner on unverified community data would be worse than leaving it blank. So here's where ChatGPT is the clear pick. On advanced math, it's sitting at 76.6% accuracy on computational benchmarks. And on coding, it's the only one with published benchmark receipts at 74.9% on SWE Bench verified. So if your work is heavy on hard math or serious coding, ChatGPT has the numbers to back it up. And here's where Gemini is the clear pick. Everyday math at 63%, multi-step logic puzzles at 92%, with deep think mode, and a March 2026 knowledge cutoff with native Google search built in. So if you need current information fast or you're working through logic-heavy problems, Gemini is the better fit. Alright, so here's the decision rule. 5 tests in, and it's genuinely split by use case. If you're a developer doing hard math or serious coding, go ChatGPT because 74.9% on SWE Bench is the number that matters. And if you need current answers or you're running logic-heavy work, go Gemini because 92% on puzzles and a fresher cutoff win it. So pick the tool that fits your actual workflow. If you want to see how these stack up against Claude, I ran a 3-way comparison, and the coding gap flips in a way that genuinely surprised me. So if you care about SWE Bench numbers, you'll want to see where Claude lands against that 74.9% benchmark, and that video is already on the channel.